Welcome to Streams of Income with self-help author Ryan Rieger. For the next hour, you'll hear proven methods for how to live the multiple income streams dream. Ryan is passionate about helping others discover their gifts and start their own business. He's published 5 books, and his courses and group coaching programs have changed the lives of thousands of students all over the world. Ryan's books include Private Label, The Easy Way, Finding Your Grace Place, and his latest, Streams of Income. And now, here's your host, Ryan Rieger.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Streams of Income radio show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger, and today we're chatting with my friend and returning guest, Erik Olson. He's the president of Dignity Coconuts. They have an amazing company, started about 12 years ago, and they make incredible coconut-based products and doing some really cool things in the world. They were started to provide jobs for the locals and also combat human trafficking in that area, and they've done an incredible job with that. And so much, we said restaurants and a hardware store have sprung up around their business now. And it's just so cool what they're doing. Now, it has not come without their struggles. And during the pandemic, they struggled big time. He said they were at death's door. They had 4 super tsunamis come through and devastate the area. So it was only a miracle that they even survived that. So in this episode, we talk about the resilience and just by partnering with the Lord, the cool things that happened as a result of that, and how just they were saved from being extinct. And now they're just doing incredible things in the community. So the farmers that were there, their hopes and dreams for their kids were that they used to be, things that they would just survive. And now it's that, they'll get a diploma and be able to go on and do cool things. So it just is what a fun episode. A company that is a role model for business as mission type companies that are providing a great product, but also doing good in the world. So I know you're going to enjoy this episode. Real quick, also, if you want to be able to support them, their website is dignitycoconuts.com. And I have a link also in the show notes below. If you're interested, you can actually partner with them and get a donation receipt because they have a unique way to be able to do that. And so here is my episode with Erik. Erik, welcome back to Streams of Income.
Hey, it's good to be here.
So you were back on, we just looked, May 2021. So a lot has happened since then.
Yeah. Oh man, we were at death's door at that time on the last call we were on.
Oh my gosh. Well, I want to, so guys, you can go back to episode 93 and listen to that episode. But for those of you maybe with limited time or you want a refresher, why don't you tell us who you are and what Dignity Coconuts is all about?
Yeah, so I'm the president of Dignity Coconuts. We started 12 years ago in an area of the Philippines that was at risk of trafficking. There's trafficking that's happening around, and we wanted to stop it before it started in this area. It had all the ingredients of being an easy place for traffickers to come and take the women. We suspect some women have been trafficked already from our area, but it's such a taboo topic to talk about that we don't have any hard reports of it happening. And so we want to be a place where we can keep families together and prevent trafficking from happening. So we built a coconut company in the middle of basically a jungle on the seaside villages of the Philippines, in order to create jobs, hundreds of jobs, and have hundreds of farmers have fair trade with their coconuts, and in the process do community development and see really a holistic transformation happen in this area. We had done nonprofit work for years, and with a lot of nonprofit work, you can only get so far. There's these economic roots to the problem that really are hard to address. And so we've combined the best of business in terms of economic development and jobs and fair trade with the best of community development and nonprofit work in terms of not creating dependency, really caring for the whole person, and not just handing them a pair of shoes and thinking that's going to solve them the problem. And so this is what we're trying to do. And 12 years later, we're really seeing some wonderful things happen.
Wow. Well, let's get into it. You said you were just there right?
Yeah, I
You have
got
some
back three
awesome
days ago.
stories. I know we want to talk about the stories, and we also want to talk about just what happened during COVID and how many you guys almost had to shut down. So, which do you want to tackle first?
Well, maybe can I go back 12 years ago when we
Of
started?
course, yes.
I was reminded of this. I was with some of our employees there, and I was sitting there with our guy Mel, who you're not supposed to have favorites, so I won't say he's my favorite, but he's a dear friend of mine, and we were talking about where we're headed in the future and how we need to grow and things like that. And he said to me, he said, Eric, do you remember 12 years ago, there was nothing here. It was a dirt road. There were to get from one village to the next village, you had to walk through a river. There was no bridge here. There were no roads. To buy something, you had to get on a motorbike and ford 7 rivers. And it was, if you broke your leg in this area, you would have to hop on the back of a motorbike, ford 7 rivers, and drive for 2.5 hours on a bumpy dirt road.
Gosh.
This is what people lived with. And now look, we have a 2-lane, concrete, rebar reinforced highway. We have a hardware store that popped up, which we're their biggest customer, of course.
Yes.
We have restaurants that have popped up, even some resorts that have popped up to bring economic development. There's all these things that are happening in the area. And he said, when Eric, do you remember? Everybody told us this was impossible. That, the idea that we're going to build a superstructure that could have food production, that world-class food production in this place. Everybody told us it's impossible. You can't do it. And so it really, as I look back, it really is incredible how we've persevered and how we've persisted through some really hard times. I'm not joking when I say we've been at death's door. Well, I think, what did our CEO call it? He would call it, Death Valley.
Yeah.
We are in Death Valley again, just, moments away from death. Wow. I remember about 5 different times in our company's history where we looked at each other and said, we have about 2 weeks left before this business is done. Wow. And every time, the smart thing would have been to do is to say, or maybe not the smart, but I'll say the business leaders and professors would have said, that's the point where you shut it down and you use that 2 weeks of cash and you pay everybody like a good stipend and something so they have money in their pocket leaving the company. And each time we just had this inner voice, for us, Holy Spirit saying, keep going, press in. And so we did. And each time we made it through, sometimes by the skin of our teeth.
Wow.
But we did. And it's been an incredible ride.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. I remember last time we were chatting, we were just talking about the resilience, and I wanted to talk about that. So I wanted to make sure that you talked about how much you're about to close it up and now you didn't have to. So can you think of what made the turnaround? I mean, obviously God, but what circumstances did he use? What people did he use? What happened that made it to where you thought you were about to close and then, no, you don't have to?
That's a great question. We've started writing down some of the stories because I think it could make for a really great book. In each case, it was a combination of we were doing the right things. I think from the beginning, integrity was a strong core value for us, and so we were really focused. There were things that we were willing to do, and there were things that we for sure would never do, like bribery. No matter what kind of extortion was happening towards us, we were not going to pay a bribe. And so I think there were some of those. I do think there were also things where, we weren't just praying in a closet, just hoping for God to bail us out.
Mm.
during these times, we were outselling, and it was a check that came from a customer that often saved us, or a
Yes.
new customer, or a new investor.
Wow.
Or it was this combination of doing the right things,
Yeah.
working at it and working hard at the things that were going to help us, as well as there are many times that we say, well, there's no way that could have happened without really God at play and God working on our behalf. It's like it's almost like he's on the team, and
Yes.
we're working together to do it. So it's not just us
Yes.
working apart from him, and it's also not just him bailing us out. It's us doing it together.
Absolutely. Yes. It's him giving you wisdom to, hey, call this guy back, contact that customer. I mean, yeah, it may not just be him just laying the money at your feet or putting it in your bank account. Likely it's not. It's an idea that he gives you to do something, and
Yeah.
it leads to something incredible.
Yeah, I have a quick story about that. So, like on the bribery, the Philippines, it has a lot of corruption in it. Not sure if I should say that publicly, with the current president, but everybody knows there's a lot of corruption, and it's been a big problem in the Philippines for a long time. And so we had, over the course of until we could operate our company and start making our world-class virgin coconut oil, we had to go and get permits from 36 different government offices, 36. Whether it was the fire marshal or whether it was, this or that. It was just a lot of different ones. And in fact, our CEO, he has that list of 36 on a plaque that he's framed, because each one of those, it was not easy. Here in the US, we fill out a form, and all of a sudden you have an LLC. Yes. You need approval for this. You need a sales certificate for this. We complain that it's hard, but comparison to the Philippines, it's nothing. And each one is like a badge of honor that we wear.
Oh my God!
And with one of them, we were building out our buildings on our site, and we got to this point where we had to get government official to keep moving forward, and it wasn't coming, and all of a sudden we had to shut down our operation because we couldn't go any further without this government approval. And we kept appealing, saying, please, we really need this. Would you please? All we needed was this one guy's signature. And he kept saying to us, hey, I'm happy to give this to you. We just need a little grease money to turn the wheels.
Yeah.
That's what they call it, grease money. And we kept saying, we don't do that. We just think it's wrong, and it encourages corruption. And so we're not going to be a part of that. So it was months that our plant, half built, just sat there. I think it was like 6 months. And you can imagine, what investors and others, were thinking, as it just sits there for 6 months, just burning capital. And so we had tried a lot of different things. We tried working with other people within the government, and so we're praying about this. We're doing different options. And finally we get a meeting with his boss. We are told ahead of time that if you accuse a government official that there's corruption underneath him, it's like a slap in the face. You don't just say, hey, Ryan, your people are corrupt and they're asking for bribery from us. You will get thrown out of the office, because, of course, to save face, he has to say, there's no corruption in my office, get out. So we were advised, go in carefully and kind of softly mention this topic. And so we went into this meeting, and we chatted, and finally he says, well, what can I do for you? And we said, well, we have a problem. And instead of naming the person's name, we just said, we have a problem, and this problem is preventing us from progressing in building this superstructure that we have, and from doing all this good work that we want to be doing in this area. And this government official kind of waves of his hand and says, you don't have a problem. And we thought, who gave us this idea again? This is not working. Why are we being so indirect? And so we thought, okay, let's try it again. Maybe the English translation is not getting through. So we again explain the situation. We have this problem. We need these forms, this paperwork to get what we need.
Mm-hmm.
And again, he says to us, you don't have a problem. We're like, okay, this is our last chance. So we say it a third time. No, we really, really, really need this signature, and there's a problem, and we can't get it.
Huh.
And he leans into us and he said, guys, you don't have a problem, because if there was a problem, that problem would find himself on a far distant island away from everything he loves, and would never see his family again. You don't have a problem. And we realized, oh, when you say we don't have a problem, you're saying I'm going to solve the problem. That week, we got that signature.
And is the guy at a far distant island away from his family?
No. Well, I don't know if we didn't really follow up with them and send them, thank you or sympathy cards. But no, it was pretty amazing. There's another time where we had, what was it? This one wasn't a bribery issue. This was just, we needed help. I can't remember what the issue was. And we'd tried to meet with one of the government senators, or maybe it was the governor of the area, and tried to get a meeting. Again, we're in the US, they're in the Philippines. And so we just went over, even without getting a meeting. We thought, well, let's just take a chance. But we kept getting messages back from the secretary. Sorry, he's busy. His schedule's full. We can't schedule a time. So we just book a plane ticket and we just hope that we can meet with them. And again, we get there. It's the day before. They said, nope, we can't meet with you. He said he's traveling. And we're trying to get just a 15-minute slot. That's all we needed that's all they were willing to give us to make a short pitch. And so we board the plane thinking, well, this whole trip might be just a complete waste. And we sit down next to the governor of the area.
On the plane?
On the plane. And so not only did we have 15 minutes, we had a whole hour.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
To build rapport and to talk to this guy.
Wow. So, that's not coincidence at all. There's just
yeah. So it's been fun, and it's a very different story than so many businesses. And it's been fun, and it's been exciting, and it's been incredibly stressful and terrifying at the same time. You mentioned the pandemic and the typhoon. Should I talk about that some?
Yeah, you can. Absolutely.
So 2019, in December 2019, back up. So in Asia, we get typhoons. This is common. Our area of the Philippines gets a typhoon about once every 5 years. And so they come through, they do some damage. But in 2019, a super typhoon in December hit, and this was a bad one. This was the worst most people had seen in their lifetime.
Wow. It
was called Typhoon Tisoy, and it damaged 100% of the coconut trees. 20% of the coconut trees were toppled over completely. And the rest of the 80%, they were damaged. The palm fronds were blown off. The coconuts were all blown off. And we had no idea whether these coconut trees would ever heal and bear fruit again. They looked like big toothpicks, just sticking up in the air with nothing on top. No coconuts, no palms.
Yeah.
And we did a survey of the area, and it was devastating. On a business front, we just thought, we don't even know if we have a business anymore. We're in the coconut. We built this whole facility to process coconuts, and we don't know where we're going to get coconuts from. For the community, which it's a mainly farming community, which mainly farms coconuts. They do some rice and fish as well. This community, they were desperate. They didn't know what they were going to do. And then 4 months later, what happens? The pandemic. So right on top of each other, wow. This community is in its most desperate state it's been in probably a century. We had people that were on the brink of starvation. And to put it in context, we did a baseline survey when we first came, and it's common for people to have food shortages. It's common for people to have 1, 2, or 3 months of time where they're just eating rice once a day. That's wow. all the food that their family has. Okay. And so they know what it's like to have very little food. And this got really desperate for a lot of people. And we didn't know, we weren't sure if we even had a business left. And the people were turning to us saying, can you help us? And we thought, what can we do? And so we saw the need, and it was huge. And we thought, we can't solve the problem. We can't actually solve what needs to be done. But, kind of like, Jesus's questions to the disciple of, what do you have? Give it to me. We said, well, we have a little bit of money. Let's do what we can with what we have.
Yeah.
So we decided to buy a few trucks of rice and handed out big bags of 50 kilopounds of rice, one per family. Maybe it was 30 kilos. I'm forgetting now. And so I think we passed out to 2,000 families.
Wow. And
then 3 months later, another typhoon hits, and people are still desperate. So we did it again. Somehow we still had a business. We started actually buying coconuts from a competitor that was outside of the typhoon area. And we did another distribution of rice. And then another 3 months later, there was another typhoon that hit. It was another super typhoon. And we did another distribution of rice. And then another one hit. We did another distribution. And for the farmers, we gave them, because they were hit the worst. I mean, we gave all of our farmers an extra. We gave them actually some cash as well as some grocery items and rice. Mm-hmm. But over the course of, in an area that usually gets one typhoon every 5 years, we saw 4 super typhoons come within 18 months.
Oh my gosh.
On top of the pandemic. And it was really hard. It was, again, probably an impossible situation. And I was just there in the Philippines meeting with some of our farmers, and every one of them, I asked them, what's been the impact of being one of the Dignity farmers? And all of them said, you helped us survive. Wow. You helped us through our greatest time of need. You were there for us. And
that was like emotional.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Oh my gosh.
It's hard because, we were on lockdown. I didn't go over there. I wasn't there with the trucks,
right,
handing out the rice. I didn't look in people's eyes as we were doing these distributions. I got pictures sent to me by email, and it was good. It felt good. And I could tell we were doing something good, but to have these farmers look at me in the eyes and tell me how much it meant to them that we were there for them, because they don't have safety nets.
Yeah.
They don't have government programs. Their government, they gave them, what was it? I wrote it down. Their government gave them like 5 kilos of rice. That's all they were given. And here we gave them 100 kilos of rice to help them through. So So what is that? So the government gave them like 10 pounds of rice, 12 pounds of rice, and we gave them 200 and what is that, 40 pounds of rice for their families. Yeah, so that definitely kind of brought me to tears.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of other things that are happening that I kind of heard of, but when I was there to hear it firsthand, just felt different.
Yeah.
Another example, there was these, when we first did this baseline survey, we asked people, well, what level of education did you reach?
Mm-hmm.
And of all the adults, 50% of the adults had a sixth grade education or less.
Wow.
And less than 1% had done anything regarding post-high school education, whether that was going to a technical college, taking one college class, or some kind of trade, skills training or something like that. Less than 1% of men and women. And this time I'm talking to farmers, which the farmers, they are the lowest in terms of, economics and, social ladder. And these farmers, almost every one of these farmers, not only had kids that had graduated high school, which is remarkable for this area and would have been, thought impossible 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them had started sending their kids to college. And most of them, when I asked them, what's your hopes and dreams?
Mm-hmm.
No longer was their answer that my children won't bear the debt that I've incurred. It will be, their hopes and dreams are that all my kids have a diploma.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah. So it's been exciting.
Yes, for sure. Do you think like all the economic development has happened pretty much because you guys planted your business there? Like you're the economic driver, is that right?
Yes, but we didn't do it alone. We definitely had, like, the road that was built, that was done by the government.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to do it, but they didn't have enough support until we decided to put our plant there. When we did that, that gave them the leverage to get other government officials to say, "Hey guys, look, there's development happening here.
Mm.
There's going to be some things happening in this area. Let's build this road that we all want to do."
Yeah.
So we couldn't have done it without the government support.
Good.
We have key leaders. We don't have any Americans over there, which to some people, especially those that haven't traveled as much and appreciate local leadership, that's crazy. And yet we have some really fantastic Filipino leaders that are running the operation there and doing a really good job. It's been a partnership of some good leaders, the government. There's been a lot of the local churches have really stepped up and helped out. They're doing a lot to work with us to help with teachings on health and hygiene and teachings on clean water. When we realized that everybody was drinking unclean water, even people that had drilled a well. You drill a well and you think, oh, this is going to be clean water. We did some geological surveys and realized there's no aquifer. That's kind of like think of like an underground lake. That there's no lake underneath here, and therefore all the water that people are pulling up from the ground, it's all contaminated. It has E. coli and salmonella and everything like that. And so no wonder kids are, half the time they have diarrhea and can't focus in school, or, people are constantly having, health issues. And so when we went out to kind of help the community realize, guys, you're not drinking clean water, and here's a solution so that everybody can have clean water. Really, the church, they really stepped up and they helped out, and they went, into the neighborhoods to communicate this, and to communicate, guys, we there's these buckets that have this filtration system, and it filters out these bacteria and viruses. And I know we can't see it, and it looks like we're drinking clean water, but we're really not.
Yeah.
And so, so it was a lot of partnership. This was
awesome.
a team effort, but it's exciting to see that we're really accomplishing these dreams.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So it's not just about, selling some coconuts. You're changing a whole region, changing families for generations. That's crazy. Through business. Business gives you that tool to do that, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think that for years of doing nonprofit work and now trying to combine them, I believe if you do it right, the marriage of good business with good community development, the impact is exponential.
Yes.
Because you're addressing all sides of the problem.
Right. Are there nonprofits working in that area that you, besides the churches, obviously those are nonprofits, any other organizations that you partnered up with there?
Not initially.
Okay.
Well, yes, there was a school, and actually that's how we got started. It was our founder, Don Biker, who passed away a few years ago. He came from he was teaching at the Harvard Business School, and he was at Bain and Company for a while, and he started this school in this jungle area because there was no high school.
Wow. And
really believing that education was the key. If we can teach students, then that's the key to unlocking opportunity and success for this area. And after he had finished, he asked the principal, "Hey, we've had this school for a while. Things are going well. What are you thinking?" And Arsenio, who's not even 100 pounds wet, this old lady who's actually on her deathbed right now. She looked at Don and said, "Don, my students, they're coming out of school with a fantastic education. These are some of the brightest students in the area. They're coming out with good character because we focus on that, good skills, they're thinking right. But when they graduate, what happens? There's no opportunities. There's no jobs here.
Wow.
So what are they going to do?" She said, at best, they're going to go to Manila, Cebu, or to Bahrain, Dubai, and they'll get a job where they're lonely and overworked.
Yes.
Because, often on these contract jobs, they're worked 100 hours plus a week.
Wow.
And, they're sharing a bed with somebody who's working the night shift and they're working day. I mean, and they cram like dozens of people into like a one room bedroom. It's not a good situation. That's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is they're abused, especially the women who go over as maids, housemaids, and oftentimes they're raped or they're just simply trafficked into the sex trade. And Arsenio looked at Don and said, "Would you connect my students to the global marketplace? Would you give them a chance to use their skills right here, right with their families?" And that's where the whole dream for Dignity came. Yeah.
You guys have done it. You're seeing it now. You're seeing the fruit of what he planted.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we are.
Doesn't mean it's been easy though.
No, and we're not done. We're not out of the woods either. I met with a lot of other people a lot of other farmers who are begging to become a part of Dignity, and we can add them as we grow our sales.
Yeah.
But and that's what we're trying to do. So we're trying to get into other stores. We just pitched to Whole Foods. We just pitched to Wegmans. We'd love to get into a Sprouts or a Publix or, these kinds of stores would really help us. But right now we're basically nobodies. It's people on your podcast and others that have heard of us, but in the public space, Good Morning America hasn't covered us. We haven't been featured on big news outlets. We've had some TV interviews. We've had some articles written about us, and those are great. But in the grand scheme of things, we never had the big, huge marketing budgets to do what a lot of other of the big brands do. And so we've grown this far from word of mouth, and it's been good, but we really need some kind of bigger opportunities to see the kind of growth that and to have the impact that we want to have.
Sorry, my mind's just going. As soon as you're talking, I'm thinking about somebody else I need to connect you with in the social media space. Well, let's talk about the actual coconut oil itself. And you also have an opportunity for people that are like, this is amazing. I want to buy some coconut oil. So we'll give it the web address. I know it's dignitycoconuts.com. But then also for somebody that wants to partner with you, you have a way for somebody to actually be able to donate and get a tax donation receipt, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'd love for people, if you're interested, buy our product. We have holiday sales going on right now. That we just launched a new eco makeup remover bundle. One of the biggest ways people use coconut oil is to remove their makeup with it. And so we have some reusable pads, and so you don't have to throw them away. You can just wash them, and we have a little bag that you can wash them in. Along with our coconut oil, we have a beauty bundle that has a dry brush in it, as well as lip balms and coconut oil. These make great gifts for people. And for those that say, hey, I want to do more than buy a dozen jars and hand them out to friends and family, we'd love for you to donate. It helps us expand our impact. It helps us get more farmers trained. As we grow, we need farmers that are trained in organic certification, and that takes a lot of time and energy to get them on board. Unfortunately, for many of them, we have to teach them how to read and write, because organic certification requires them to document things. And so we're teaching literacy to many of them so that they can do the documentation. So donations go towards that side of things that help them get on board, or for our employees, helping them with the skills training and other community development projects that we have going in the community. So you can have the link in the show notes for that.
Yeah, just give me the link when we get off here, and I'll make sure that it gets in there. I'm actually on our site right now.
Yeah, our products, you can go to dignitycoconuts.com and then hit the shop button, and you can find some of these deals. I think a lot of people, when they think of the holidays, I'm not sure when this one will get released, but a lot of people think, oh, I'm gonna get these gifts for my friends and family. And I don't know about you, but a lot of times I wonder, are they even going to use this gift? Or, is this, or, a lot of times I get just gag gifts because they're funny. Right. But a lot of people, they have what they need and they don't really need much else. It's just wants and it's fun stuff. Yeah. And then on the other side, you have Giving Tuesday and all these other kinds of things happening where people are thinking, hey, I want to do an end of the year gift. I want my money to make an impact. They want to give back.
Yes.
And so through Dignity Coconuts, this is a great opportunity to do both. Don't just think about, I'm going to get this gift and I'm going to donate that money. What if you did both? You give a meaningful gift that's actually people will use, and have it be a gift that's giving people jobs. It's help these farmers out of predatory loans that lock their families in for generations. And it's helping build a community and give them hope.
Yes. You have an awesome story too. I think my wife's always on Instagram and watches, the people's stories and follows, ladies all the time that sell her stuff. She goes online, buys their stuff. I think if you just had a few key people like that, and one person I want to introduce you to has a large audience. The anti-trafficking message is very popular right now. And you're doing it. So that's a key, that's a definitely an in, I think, with some of these people that, they're not just selling a product. They're doing something bigger.
Yeah. And so, that's another option. If influencers people that have a following, whether that's, people on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or maybe that's an email following or a blog or a podcast. Great. Yeah. Introduce us. Because again, they probably haven't heard of us. It's probably not that they have looked at us and said, don't really want to feature these guys. It's probably that they have no idea we exist, but
Exactly.
you do.
Yes.
You've heard of us. And even if you don't know these influencers personally, it's surprising how much these influencers listen to their followers.
Yes.
When you send a quick DM or email or something saying, hey, I just heard these guys, you should consider having them on your show, or talking about these guys, you would be surprised. Even in grocery stores, going to a Sprouts or Wegmans and just asking for the store manager and saying, hey, this product is fantastic and you don't have it on your shelf, that they listen to that.
Yes, they do.
Not just one, but if they hear a few people say that, you'd be surprised. And so I think that there's some small things that you can do that actually help a lot. Because for me, when I go to the influencer or I go to that store, it's self-promotion. Right. I'm promoting myself, and right away, they're trained to say, oh yeah, I got 100 emails from guys like you, not interested. Here's another loser president, brand owner that wants to pitch his product to me. No thanks. They're just like conditioned to do that. I mean, you do this with your emails, right? You're constantly like, no, I don't want that. I don't want another this or that.
Right.
And so we do that, but somehow you have influence I don't have to help us get in with influencers and stores.
Couple ideas that just as we're hanging out here talking, thinking about Sprouts, for example. We have one down the road, and I remember you saying that we could go into the store and totally say, hey, you guys need to carry Dignity coconuts. I'm looking on their site. They have a sprouts.com/contact. Do you feel like if you send an email out to your email list saying, if you live in, or even if you don't live near that store, would it be beneficial for if you had 1,000 people on your email list, email Sprouts? And I don't even know what Wegmans is, but I would gladly email Wegmans for you. If you had an email say, do you want to help us out further? Here's a link directly to Sprouts contact us page. Go in there and tell them you want us. We would like for you, Sprouts, to carry this brand. We would buy it.
I love it.
Would that
great idea.
Almost like a social campaign? And I wonder if that would move the needle if they got 1,000 people emailing their contact. Now, it may be better if you go in and talk to the manager potentially, but not everybody's going to do that. So what if they could sit down and in 10 minutes email 5 stores? You can even give them the words to say. Now, that may sound like they're going to start getting a bunch of them. They're going to know that you guys told them to do that. But
that's a great idea. And for those listening to this, I'd encourage you, think of what are the 3 to 5 stores that you shop at, and contact. They might have a contact page on the website. Maybe that's easier for you than talking to a store manager. Maybe that sounds too scary. And the email would be something like, hey, I love shopping at your store. I just heard about this great product, and hopefully you're already buying it, or maybe buy it on Amazon and say, I'm a customer already and I'd love to buy it from your store. Something like that. That's all you need.
Love it. Another idea I just had was thinking about the anti-trafficking angle. Have you ever thought about going to all of the major anti-trafficking organizations, their Facebook, or actually Facebook might be a little bit harder. Instagram, you can see who's following them. So for example here, think A21. What if you went to A21's Instagram page and clicked on their followers? Now there's probably going to be 5,000 of them, maybe 10,000, maybe more. And then you need a VA to do this. Maybe somebody you hire in the Philippines, it's one of your workers' kids, and have them one by one go through and see okay, this person they've got, and have a benchmark. If they have this many followers, we send them a direct message saying, hey, we know that you are, because you follow A21, you care about this issue. We have a brand that attacks anti-trafficking. would you be interested in partnering with us? Because people who have 1 million followers, they're getting those all the time, but people who have 10,000 and below aren't getting those. And it would be like, wow, really? You want me to sponsor your brand? And a lot of them will do it just for free product. So you could send them that, maybe that makeup, it's only $15.95 on your site right now for you to have them do a post or a video about it. That's easily worth the cost that cost you to have them do a post. So I don't know if that's an angle you want to go down, but just
I love it.
Find those organizations, find their followers, because they already care about that stuff, and reach out to them and ask them if they want to sponsor your brand. I could probably get the right terms for you if you want me to, but essentially it's just you want them to start promoting your product, and you'll give them a free product in exchange for a video or something. I have a lot of people that do social media like that I could find out what's a contract look like, what's a normal expectation. Do you do 5 videos? Is it 1 video? There may be a level like where they're a brand ambassador, and maybe you give them free product all the time. Like every month they get a new shipment and they're expected to do this many videos for you. Those relationships could pop up, and it might just be the cost of the product for you. Yeah,
I love it. I love your ideas.
Hopefully, let me know. I'll one of the persons I'm thinking about is Melissa Hughes. She's been on this podcast before several times. She's a good friend of mine now. She's got 250,000 followers on TikTok. A credible story. She might be somebody that would be interested in doing this, being an ambassador for you. But also I could ask her, like, what's a typical arrangement? What's that look like? What should you guys offer? What should you guys expect in exchange for a $15 product?
Cool. I love it.
Cool. Well, give me that email or give me the link when we get off here, or even just later. This is probably air on Friday, if that's okay, and we'll get the word out about this. So anything else? Any other last words of wisdom to the audience?
I think it's been incredible seeing the kind of development that we've had in people and in the area. And I think I just want to challenge you to think about it. I think a lot of us, we think about work as a means to an end. That it's this like evil that we have to endure. Maybe not evil, but but it and I think there's ways to incorporate purpose and fulfillment into the work we're doing. It's not easy, and it certainly takes some soul searching. It takes some creative thinking, and potentially, like, you're a great guy to kind of bounce ideas off and think. And so you might need to find other people to kind of surround you and think through, how could I use what I'm doing at work to really make an impact in people's lives? But I think the idea of combining it's really powerful. Instead of just thinking, how do I just make a lot of money from my 9 to 5 and then give money away, outside of that, or make an impact, or if you could combine even some of that, I think it'd be pretty incredible.
Yes, absolutely. Well, your story is amazing. I love hearing about what you guys have done, and it goes way beyond just selling some coconut oil, doesn't it? You're making an eternal impact in people's lives. So awesome. Well, thanks for being on, Erik. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Streams of Income with self-help author Ryan Rieger. From right here in the Dallas Metroplex, Ryan teaches several entrepreneurial courses and group coaching programs to students all over the world. Be sure to listen next week at the same time for Streams of Income with Ryan Rieger.